So that wraps up our module on lists. Here is a summary. So this is a new type list. It's different than integers or strings or floats or booleans that we've covered in the past. You create it specifically with these square brackets, just like you see here, separating each value by a comma. So lists can contain heterogeneous data. That means data of all different types. Homogeneous data is when the data is all of the same type. You can have homogeneous data, but there's no restriction on lists. Any type of object can go inside of a list. Lists are considered data structures in programming terminology, which is just a collection of data. There are many ways to arrange and collect data. Lists are just one of them. Then we moved on to selecting list items. And to do that, you take your list name, you append the square brackets to it, and then you place the index location, which is an integer inside of there. That's how you select a single item. Integer index begins at 0. The integers begin at 0. So my list bracket 0 selects the first item, 4 selects the fifth item. You can select multiple items using slice notation, start colon stop colon step, and this returns a new list, not just a single item. Here we slice from the fourth, index 4, up to but not including 13. This slices from 4 to the end. This slices from the beginning to 4. This slices from 4 up to but not including 13 by 2. And this reverses the list. Lists are mutable objects. That means they can be modified. That is different than strings, which are immutable and cannot be modified once created. So you can replace items, you can remove items, you can insert items as well. We talked about the difference between names versus objects. So assigning one variable name to another variable name does not create a new object. It just creates a new name to a reference of the underlying object. So we looked at this example over here where list 1 was assigned to 1, 5, and 10. List 2 was assigned to the variable name list 1. It did not create a new list. It's just another name to reference that same list. Just like my name, people can reference me as Theodore, Teddy, or Ted. I'm just one person. Same thing here. We have one list that can be referenced by two different names. So when you do change an item in the list like this, there's just one list that's changed. So when you look at either list 1 or list 2, it refers to this list now, 99, 5, and 10. You can use the is operator to verify that two objects are the exact same in your computer's memory. So here, if you do list 1 is list 2, it will evaluate as true. We also use the ID function in order to look at its address in your computer's memory, and that also verified that it was the same. If you want a new separate copy, like a clone of it somewhere else, then you can call the copy method. We then moved on to methods. These are accessed with the dot notation. So in general, it is just my list dot method name, and then the parentheses, and sometimes there's a parameter or argument that are passed to that. So most list methods mutate the list in place. So they don't return anything, but they change the underlying list. We looked at the append method, which puts an item at the end of the list. Extend puts multiple items at the end. You have to give it a list or a string or any iterable object over here. We also learned about many other methods like insert, to insert a specific item in a specific place. Remove removes one item at a time. Pop will remove and return items. Reverse simply reverses the list. Sort can sort the list in order from least to greatest or greatest to least. Count counts the number of items that appear in a list. And then index finds the index of a specific item. All right, so you can get the length of a list with the len function. There is no method for this. It is just len and then placing your list inside of the function. We looked at the addition and multiplication operators. The addition operator concatenates lists together like this. The multiplication operator repeatedly concatenates the list to itself. And then we found out how to check for item membership with the in or not in operator like this. So you can say some some value, is it in a particular list? In this case, it is true. You can also use not in to check if it's not in the list. All right, so that's the summary for lists.